Thanks very much, sir, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. It's indeed my privilege to be speaking to the man of the moment, the man who's helped India strike very many successful deals. First, the mother of all deals, and now the father of all deals. So congratulations to you, sir, on that.
Thank you very much.
So we'll come to the various points about the deal a little later, but let me first ask you what went on as far as these negotiations are concerned, and of course the speed at which these negotiations have moved. It's incredible.
Well, I think it was basically the confidence that the leaders of the European Union nations and Prime Minister Modi had, and President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi had, that we are all democracies, we're all like-minded countries which believe in fair trade and open government. We are all democracies who work in the spirit of fair trade and the rule of law. And once you trust your counterparty, it's always easier to enter into a trade deal or into any conclude any negotiations amicably, satisfactorily, and come out with fair and equitable, balanced outcomes.
Right. And so India has been considered a trusted geography by very many partners.
Certainly.
And that's been reflected in the kind of deals that we have struck, with the FTA grouping and then, of course, with the EU grouping.
Yeah, we've done 9 free trade agreements, yes, and all of them are with economies who don't compete with us. 37 of them, they cover 38 countries.
Right, sir.
37 of them are developed economies with per capita incomes ranging from $25,000 to as high as $200,000. One is with Mauritius, who doesn't compete. They're more into tourism and financial services. Not a very big manufacturing nation. So basically, we are opening up a plethora of opportunities for our labor-oriented sectors. Our farmers will get a lot of export potential. We can easily see farm and fish exports, which currently stand at 5 lakh crores, about $54 billion, doubling in the next 5 or 6 years. I can see before my eyes lakhs and lakhs, if not crores, of young men and women getting attractive jobs in all of these sectors. I can see our artisans, the handicraft and handloom sector, benefit hugely from these agreements. And ultimately, all of this will rub off with greater potential in the services sector. So all in all, with our ambition to become the 3rd largest GDP in the next couple of years, and then grow our economy from a $4 trillion GDP to a $30 or $35 trillion GDP by 2047 is a task that will be speeded up in the Amrit Kal with these agreements.
And so that's been the view that economists have also held, and investors as well. In fact, Barclays states that the markets are factoring in the best case scenario tomorrow morning when the markets open. But let me ask you, since you mentioned about the agri sector, and of course you've given clarifications over the past couple of days that we have protected, and India has maintained firm red lines as far as the agri, dairy and GM crop segment is concerned, not just with the United States, but with several other countries with whom we have struck our FTAs. However, the opposition is essentially stating that India will be swamped by agri produce from the US. But sir, the understanding is that we have opened up in a calibrated manner, and its complementarity is the key factor at play.
Well, first of all, I must categorically state that the interests of farmers have been fully protected, not even 99%, it's 100% protected. All the main areas which are sensitive, where we are self-sufficient, where we have good production, and where our farmers are largely focused. The largest number of farmers are in meat products, poultry products, dairy products, GM foods, soya, corn, that's maize, rice, wheat, sugar, millets like jawar, ragi, bajra, kodo, amaranth, fruits like banana. We make a lot of banana. We produce strawberry, cherries, citrus fruits, pulses like green peas, moong, kabuli chana, oil seeds, certain animal feed, groundnuts, honey, malt and its extracts, non-alcoholic beverages, flour and meals, starch, essential oils, ethanol for fuel, which is a massive production in India, tobacco, all of these are completely kept out of the deal. No concessions have been given. Once all of these are kept out, and these are having some overlap with the products that America also produces in large volume. So we have, in a way, completely insulated our market from any potential threat to the farmers. Whatever has been opened, there's been a very calibrated opening, safeguarding the interests of farmers and producers so that there's no harm to Indian industry. And at the same time, the few items that have been given concessions, like soybean oil.
Right.
We import oil in a big way, $5 billion every year. So if we give a quota to the United States of America, it's okay, we don't lose anything. More suppliers, the merrier. Our consumers will get a better deal. When we allow, let's say, almonds or pistachios, they're only good for the economy. These tree nuts, nearly $3.5 billion of these are already imported every year. US itself exports $1 billion of tree nuts to India. So well within those parameters, we are trying to increase our bilateral trade without any of our producers or farmers suffering. At the same time, we have made sure that we get a good opportunity for export of our products to the US.
Absolutely.
So our farmers' products will now get only an 18% reciprocal tariff, which compared to many of our competitors, or rather all our competitors, is much lower than them. Simultaneously, we have also got many products lower tariff, many agricultural products a lower tariff in the American agri market, where reciprocal tariffs have come down to 0%. So those products we can really look at good boost to farmers' incomes and farmers' exports. Things like spices, bakery products, cocoa and cocoa preparations, tea and coffee, and their extracts. Many fruits and nuts, mangoes, guavas, papayas, banana, all of them will get zero duty concession when we export to the US. Many vegetable plating materials, many essential oils, some preparations of vegetables, fruits, nuts or other plants, fertilizers, prepared edible fats, animal or vegetable waxes. All of these also will now get zero duty access in the American market, and we should try to make the best of it and increase exports to US of these products. And the US imports these products in very large measure.
Right, sir.
I mean, let me give you a context. The spices alone, while we export about $360 million to US, their imports are $2 billion. Okay. And our spices are top quality.
True.
So we can really expand our exports of spices. Similarly, bakery products. America imports $7.65 billion of bakery products, which will go at zero duty. Our export is only $150 million, 2%. Can we not increase that massively? And who will benefit? Both our farmers and our processors, which means a lot of jobs for our youth.
Right, sir.
So our effort has been to see how we can expand opportunities for our farmers with much lower duties on farm products or their processed products. And I think this is going to be a great deal for our farmers, for our poultry, animal husbandry players, for our fishermen, who will all stand to gain with this American bilateral trading.
So when you mention fishermen, I have to mention that the marine sector that you mentioned earlier as well, that benefits even more because of the kind of diversification that we've seen in EU and Russia as well.
Yes, while there was stress with America,
right.
We negotiated with the EU and got a lot of our seafood exporters listed there. And they've been exporting large volumes. Other countries also have started taking Indian seafood. And I remember telling all our exporters, don't lose US market share, but also diversify. So you get a double benefit.
And you did identify 50 countries for the purpose of...
We mapped countries which could be alternate destinations.
Right. So when you mention about these agri-exports overall, could you give us a percentage of the exports that are under this zero duty tariff rate?
Well, it's a question of now that it's not zero tariff rate, there's zero reciprocal tariffs. The export of products under these exempted categories, both in industrial and in agri, collectively, currently we are exporting about $4 billion, $4.3 billion. Okay. But America's imports from the world of all of these products, agri and some industrial together, is about $348 billion. So it shows you the huge potential. Now that we have a zero RT, our industry should grab the opportunity.
Absolutely, and it remains to be seen how private capex comes back into the ecosystem. It's been limited to a few sectors, but this also gives the opportunity to investors and, of course, the private players to come back. But let me ask you, sir, when we talk about complementarity, I have to bring about this aspect of the pact which states that India will buy $500 billion worth of goods, and that is where also we see that complementarity is in place. Now, when we talk about India sort of purchasing tech products, ICT products, or AI advanced chips for semiconductors and data center infrastructure, did you strike the deal, and did you strike this part in the deal, put the part in the deal, keeping in mind that India gets the first mover's advantage in this sector, given the kind of intense competition globally that we have seen?
No, India is very keen to expand our data centers, our AI mission, get into quantum computing. And we need a lot of equipment for that. There are times when countries have put restrictions on these exports. So it was very important for us to ensure the supply of these goods to India. And at the same time, we also need a lot of aeroplanes and their engines and parts. My guess is we'll need at least $80 to $100 billion of aeroplanes or the aviation industry requirements. At the same time, precious metals come to India in big volumes. Coking coal, we import a lot of coking coal for steel manufacturing. Going forward, we're going to double our steel production. So coking coal imports will also grow to nearly 30 billion plus. Energy requirements, LNG, LPG, crude oil, we have a huge demand. We've been importing for so many decades now. All in all, these products which we have identified as complementary with the US, where they could become a trusted supplier, they will add to the competition so that we get more attractive pricing and better quality. Our products on which our current import bill is already $300 billion. As the economy grows, and we are the world's fastest growing large economy, we estimate in the next 5 years that these products will be imported to the tune of $2 trillion. Now, for us to import from America $500 billion out of this $2 trillion is only going to be good for India. It'll add to the competition, get us better pricing. At the same time, there are many products, there is no other alternative, the data center equipment, for example. So, trusted geography from which we can hope to get these. So I think these, along with our overall strategic partnership with the US, we have a technology partnership, a critical minerals partnership, we have a partnership on defense. There's a multifaceted partnership with the US. And they are our most important trading partner, most important strategic partner. So I think this trade deal has given the stamp of approval to this relationship, has ensured predictability and stability for investors and other stakeholders, and will give a huge momentum to the US-India partnership.
When you talk about investments, we've seen very recently that Google has invested $15 billion in India's AI and data center infrastructure. What are the kind of investments that you're anticipating? Would you be able to give a figure, or is this a little premature?
It's a little premature, but let me hazard a guess, let's say, on data centers. Google announced a 1 gigawatt data center and a $15 billion investment. From different sources, I've been hearing about Amazon and other hyperscalers coming to India. And guess estimates are that On a very conservative note, 5 gigawatt. On a reasonable note, one can easily see 10 gigawatt of data centers coming into India. Now, we are easily looking at anything between 100 and $150 billion of investment into data centers alone. We are looking at LLMs being developed in India, quantum computing coming to India. We're looking at becoming leaders in applied artificial intelligence, given the huge talent pool that India has. So this technology sector is one area where we have limitless potential. And the US and India, as trusted partners, as natural partners, working together with the confidence that together we become a force multiplier in this sector. Clearly demonstrate huge potential, and this trade deal will encourage more and more people to look at India as a safe and reliable destination to invest.
Right. So since we're talking about technology and AI and data centers, let me take you through one portion of the joint statement, which is called for addressing burdensome practices and other barriers to digital trade. What exactly is the US looking at when they talk about addressing these burdensome practices?
Well, I think it's a two-way issue. We are looking at addressing non-tariff barriers on both sides. And we would like to actually make it easier to trade with a friendly and trusted geography like the US, which believes in fair play, which believes in honest rules of trade. And I think we should dismantle as many trade barriers, particularly between the US and India, European Union and India, which will help us grow our economy. If we have to grow our economy 8 times in the next 22, 23 years, and become a $35 trillion economy, become a developed nation, which is not only Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision, but it is the collective commitment of 1.4 billion people. We have given unto ourselves this promise that we will become a developed nation by 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of independence. And all of these efforts will help spur growth and help us achieve our mission faster and more efficiently.
Right, sir. So just a final few questions before we let you go. And this one is particularly on what happens next. We've signed the framework for an interim agreement. Are there more negotiations that are pending? And where could we see the signing of this agreement?
Unlike many other framework agreements where the basic general discussion took place first and the detailing was done later, the US-India agreement rests on very solid details which have been finalized over the last 11 months. So we are sitting pretty with very robust engagement having taken place between our officials, between ministers. And I'm very confident that over the next 40 to 50 days, we should be able to convert this into a legal agreement so that it comes into play. In the meantime, sometime next week, I hope the executive order reducing reciprocal tariffs to 18% is released so that trade between the two nations can proceed at a fast pace.
So could you answer the question related to where is the signing of the agreement expected to take place? Are we going to go or...
well, I've invited my counterpart and my dear friend, Ambassador Jameson Greer, the United States Trade Representative, to visit India. He has been gracious enough to accept my invitation, and I'm quite hopeful and confident that we'll be able to have the signing in India sometime in March.
We'll be looking forward to that, sir. Just one final question, and this essentially is about what can we look forward to next? I know that you've been a busy man all through this past 1 year, signed multiple FTAs. We have, of course, some more which are in progress. We are in talks with the Eurasian Economic Union, Chile, Peru. Could you give us a status check of all of these FTAs?
We've just launched the GCC,
GCC,
so that the other 4 countries in the GCC also come within the ambit of our free trade agreements. Canada and India are negotiating terms of reference to launch negotiations. We are looking at expanding the PTA with the Mercosur group of countries. Our broad perspective is that we should work with the countries where we do not compete with each other, countries where we have fair play and fair trade, where we have equal opportunities for trade to grow on both sides so that we can have very balanced, equitable and fair agreements. I'm fairly confident we are on the right track, and this will really help us take the economy to greater heights and international trade, where India will find its rightful place in international trade in the years to come.
And that's also been expressed by leaders of the European Union as well when they came here. But, sir, could we see some movement on the Canada free trade agreement? Because,
as I said, we are negotiating terms of reference.
So do you think that the Prime Minister, when he's expected to come here sometime in March, that could get finalized?
We hope so.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, sir, and congratulations once again.
Thank you, madam. Appreciate it.